All right, good morning, class, and welcome back to Math 9. Today, we're on Lesson 11. It's not going to be anything new. We're going to be reviewing what we've been doing so far in Unit 1. Last day, we had a short quiz on multiplying and dividing rational numbers. Today, we're just going to be looking at everything from where we started up to date, and I'm going to give you a test on it. Tomorrow, we'll start a new section on exponents. So let's look at some examples. What you're supposed to know so far is how to put a rational number on a number line. So we know what a number line is. Generally we have partitions. It could be 0, -1, -2, and then +1, +2. And depending on how many fractions are in between, if there's 9 fractions, then it's going to be in tenths. If there's 4 fractions, then it'll be in fourths. So we have to determine how many parts between 0 and 1. It could be 2 parts, or it could be 4 parts, or it could be 8 parts, or it could be 10 parts, or it could be quarters or eighths. Also, comparing rational numbers, we learn how to list it. Once we have them on a number line, we can actually list them now from least to greatest or greatest to least. Say we had a bunch of numbers like 2.1 and -1.2 and +3 and -4. So if we had to go from least to greatest, we put the smallest number. So we go from the smallest to the biggest. Sometimes we go from the biggest to the smallest. We also learn how to add rational numbers, add them. Generally, when you have 2 positives, you add them together, they're going to be positive. Figure this out. Positives will give you a positive. If you have a positive and a negative, your answer will be which one is the biggest. If the positive is bigger, your answer would be positive. If the negative is bigger, then the answer would be negative. Okay? So whichever number is the biggest, that's what's going to give you your answer. You also learn how to subtract rational numbers. If you have a +2 minus 1, of course this is bigger, your answer is going to be +1. But if your negative number, if we have 2 negative numbers, it's going to be the sum of those 2 negatives. If it was -2 + 1, it's going to be -1, be the biggest number. The negative is bigger, so your answer would be negative. First thing we learned was how to multiply rational numbers. And I'm just using whole numbers here, but you can also use fractions. Okay, if you have common denominators, then you just multiply the numerators. 2 times 1 is 2, and 3 times 3 is 9. And always make sure you're in the simplest form. If you don't, doesn't matter whether the denominators are common or not. Here we have different denominators. We still multiply. So 2 times 1 is 2, 3 times 4 is 12. Reduce that to, divide both by 2 and 2, 1/6. Then we also learn how to divide. We learned 2 methods, the butterfly method and the lowest common multiple, or LCM. First thing what you can do here is just flip it. That's the easiest one. So if we flip this, we can multiply it now. And then it's just the same as we did before. 3 times 3 is 9. 4 times 2 is 8. Then simplify that. 1 and 1/8. And then the last thing we did was using order of operations, and we referred back to bed mass, where we use brackets first, exponents, dividing, multiplying, adding, subtracting. We have to do that in order. So we have multi-steps. We just follow this rule. So just let's look at something. Here we have placing a number, a rational number on a number line. Here we're trying to find out what C is. Well, remember, look at how many parts between -4 and -5. Well, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So we can go, this is going to be a -4.2 minus 4.4. Let's put this -4. This would be a -4.2. And this one here would be a -4.4. So our C. Likewise, going this way, we have 3 to 4 plus 2, 0.2, 0.4, 0.6, 0.8. So this one's going to be a -3, -3.2. If there are fractions, we can either do it in decimal or we can do it in fractions. So here we have -3 and -4. We can look at the indentations again here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that means there's 6 parts to that between -3 and -4. So we can go here, -3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's -3 and 4, 6. We can reduce the 4 and the 6 to 2 over 3. Divide both by 2, and we get -3 and 2/3. Here again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 parts between -4 and -5. And this is -4 and 1/6. -4 and 1/6. And put them from least to greatest. We have these numbers now. They're mixed. We have decimals. We have fractions, decimals, mixed numbers, fractions. What we can do is we can convert each of these fractions to decimals. So I start over here, -11 over 4. If I put that in my calculator, I'm going to get a -2.75. 1 and 5, 6. 1 and 5, 6 is 1. And if I take 5 and 6 and divide it, put it in the calculator, 5 divided by 6, I get 0.8333. So it is 1.83. And -2/3, divide 2 by 3, I'm going to get 0.666 repeating. So -2/3 is -0.6. Now we have all decimal numbers. So then I put 0.35. I go over to my 0, and remember, I'm counting the parts here between. It's 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to go 0.2, 0.4, 0.6, 0.8, and 1. So 0.35 is going to be between 0.2 and 0.4. So that's 0.35. -2/3, we already said it's -0.6. So here's 0, and we have to go, this is 2, 4, 6. So right here, it'll be -0.6 or -2/3. -2 1/4. Here's -1, -2. So this is 0.2, 0.4. So this would be -2.4 right here. 1 and 5, 6. We change it over here to 1.83. So here's 1, 0.2, 0.4, 0.6, 0.8. So it'll be right in here. 1 and 5, 6, or 1.83. And then -11 over 4 is -2.75. Here's -2, 2.2, 0.4, 2.6, 2.8. So right in between would be -2.4, which is the same as -11 over 4. So now we can see that this is the smallest, and this one's the biggest. This is the least, and this one here is the greatest. Okay. So from greatest to least, the biggest number is 1.56. The next number is 0.35. Next number is minus 2/3. Next number is minus 2/4. And the last number is minus 11/4, which is minus 2.75. Okay. Which number of the pair is the greatest? Well, if we have a minus 5.3 or a minus 5.33, that's repeating. When you have the bar, it means the 3's go on forever. So if we were to plot it on the line, we have 0. And if we come over here, this is going to be a minus 3.0. And then the next number down will be minus 3.333. So which one is going to be the greatest of the two? The bigger number is minus 5.3. Write one rational number between 1/4 and 1/3. Well, we should change that to have a common denominator. We can do it either with fractions or decimals. I can take the minus 1/4 and change it to 0.25. You put 1 divided by 4, you get 0.25. 1/3, 1 divided by 3, I get 0.33. So all I need is a number that's in between these two. This is 25, and this is 33. Well, somewhere between 25 and 33 could be 26, so minus 0.26. Or I can put 3.3, 0.3 as well, because 0.3 is the same as 3 over 10 or 30 over 100. So that's going to be smaller than 33 over 100. 33 is 33 over 100. So 0.3 could be in between, and so it could 0.26. Okay. The other way is to change those fractions to a common denominator. So minus 1/4 and minus 1/3. What's going to be common? Look for the lowest common multiple. It's going to be 12. So to go from 4 to 12, you have to multiply by 3. So that's going to become minus 3 over 12. Here, to go from 3 to 12, I have to multiply by 4. So that's going to be 1 times 4 is minus 4 over 12. Now, what's going to be between 3 and 4? Well, we still don't have it. It could be 3.5. But we can even change this again to the next number, 24. Make this by, multiply this by 2, by 2, by, here it's going to be by 2, and by 2. So 3 times 2 is 6. 12 times 2 is 24. 4 times 2, it is minus 8. 12 times 2 is 24. So what's in between 6 over 24 and 8 over 24 is going to be minus 7 over 24. So that's how you can find a number between. You can either use a decimal method or you can do the fraction method. Adding and subtracting. Here we want to add 4/5 plus a negative 1/3. Remember, in order to add, we have to have a common denominator. So we can use the butterfly method. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply the 5 by the 3, and I get 15. And then I can go 5 times 1, and I get 5. Then I go the other way, 4 times 3. 4 times 3 is going to be 12. Now we look at, up here we have 12, and over in the other antenna we got 5, minus 5. So 12 minus 5 is 7, and we have it over 15. So our answer for adding 4 over 5 plus 1 over 3 is 7 over 15, using butterfly. Here we have a mixed fraction, so the first thing we have to do is change this 2 3/5 to an improper fraction. So 5 times 2 is 10, plus 3. 13. So it's going to be 13 over 5. And here we have minus 1 and 7/8. So 8 times 1 is minus 8 plus 7 is minus 15. Now we have 5 and 8. We need to get a common denominator. So what's common between 5 and 8? Well, we multiply the two together. It would be 40. 8 times 5. Let's multiply the two numbers on the bottom. So it means that we now have a common denominator. To go from 5 to 40, we have to multiply by 8. So it means we have to multiply by 8 here. So 13 by 8 is 104. Here we have to multiply 8 by 5 to get 40. So that means 15 times 5, we get 75. And it's a minus 75. We add the two together, 104, negative 75, we get 29, and the answer is 29 over 40. And the last example is when we have a negative here. So we take 3 2/3. Remember, 3 times 3 is 9, plus 2 is 11, so that becomes 11 over 3. And here we have minus 2 times 4 equals 8, right? Plus 1. And because it's negative, it's minus 9, so it's minus 9 over 4. And here we have a negative sign, so we have 11 over 3 minus a minus 9 over 4. 44 over 12 minus a minus 27 over 12. Where did we get that? Well, here. First of all, we have a 3 and a 4. The common denominator is going to be 12. To get from 3 to 12, you have to multiply by 4. So top and bottom multiply by 4 becomes 44 over 12. Here, to get to 12, you have to multiply by 3. 4 times 3 is 12, minus 9 times 3 is 27. So we have 44 minus a minus 27. Minus, so that becomes 44 plus 27. A minus, minus, and minus becomes a plus. So we add those two together, we get 71. And then we can reduce that. 71 divided by 12 is 5 with 11 over 12. Okay. Multiplying, remember, all we have to do is make sure that if we have just the fractions, here we're just going to multiply the numerator. Here is going to be 7. Here, multiply the denominator, 16. We have a negative, so it's a negative 7 over 16. Over here, got to change that to an improper fraction, so 5 times 2 is 10, plus 3 is going to be 13. So we have 13 over 5. Here we multiply 8 by not 1, it's going to be 8 plus 7, it's going to be 15, but it's a negative, so minus 15 over 8. Now we just multiply the numerators, 13 by negative 15, it's going to be 195, and 5 times 8, it's going to be 40. It's a negative, it's supposed to be negative, and divided 195 by 40, we get 4, 35, 40. Divide 5 into both of those, reduces to 7 eighths, 4 and 7 eighths, minus 4 and 7 eighths. Dividing, remember we can flip it, minus 3 over 4. We just change it to a multiplying. We can make this a, now first of all we have to change this to an improper fraction, so that's going to be 8 times 1 is 8, plus 1 is 9, so that's minus 9 over 8, right? So now we're going to flip it. We're going to flip this to 8 over 9. Remember, it's a negative. And 3 times 8, 24. 4 times 9, 36. It's a minus. I'm going to reduce that. If you divide, say, 4s into that. Actually, 6s into that is 4. 6 to that is 6. And we can reduce it again to 2/3. So it would be a minus 2/3. There it is right there. We have oh, sorry, there was a negative here too. There is a negative here and a negative here, so that becomes a plus. So all the way across becomes a plus. There's a negative here and a negative here, so then we're going to multiply a negative by a negative, becomes a positive. Again, this one we already have improper fractions, so all we got to do is flip it. So it's 3 over 10. It's 3 over 10 divided by 5 over 12. Or sorry, 12 over 5. We can flip it. 5 over 12. 3 times 5, 15, and 10 times 12, 120. And then we can divide both sides by 15. And we get 1/8. And finally, common denominators. Here we have an addition 1/2 plus a negative 3/4 divided by a negative 1/4. In BEDMAS, we have to do dividing before we do addition. So it means I have to do this operation first. So in order to do that, I have to get I have to flip that over. So I'm going to take, it's divided by negative 1/4, and flip it. Okay. So that's going to be 12 over 3 times 4 is 12 over 4. And then 12 divided by 4 is 3. So 3 is the same as minus 3 over 1. So I can put that over here. I have a negative times a negative, negative times a negative, becomes a positive, positive, 3 over 1. We have a negative and a negative, negative, negative. When we multiply two negatives, we get a positive. So now I go from here, the 1/2, and I already changed this because I divided already to 3 over 1. Now we need a common denominator, 1/2 and 3 over 1. Well, 3 over 1, to bring it to a 2, I have to multiply this by 2, this by 2, and that's going to equal 6 over 2. So that's where we get the 6 over 2. So now we have 1/2, 1 over 2 plus 6 over 2, 7 over 2. And then we can express it as an improper fraction. Okay. And last thing, a word problem. We had a couple of those in your last assignment. The price of a share in Shoppers Drug Mart changed by 0.23 cents, or dollars. It's changed by 23 cents. A person owns 65 shares. By how much did the shares change in value that day? Well, one share is 23 cents. You have 65 shares, so it's going to be 23 times 65, $14.95. How much did the shares change? The shares change $14.95. So that's it for the review. So I'm going to attach the test to this lesson for the people at home, and I'll hand it out to the people here at the TC. So your assignment today is the unit test, and here it is on your last page. I'll attach this document to your assignment.